it just happened that way. Back there, I guess it was the mid-90s, man. Well, things change and time goes flying by. And, when you get to be my age, you just think it's all been a blink of the eye, even though it's been long and excruciatingly painful at times. It's been like the shortest little breath of fresh air you ever caught. Yet there it is on all its fullness and its fatness, that life, I mean, that we've been living and all the experience in it. But there was like Rip Van Winkle, man. That's what you feel like when you remember the old legends. Well, maybe some of you young kids don't know such legends, but essentially Rip Van Winkle got to bowling with some trolls up on a mountain somewhere, and they put him to sleep because he was too good a bowler and he embarrassed them. So they put him to sleep for 20 years. But when he came down off the mountain thinking he'd only been up there for a day or so, he'd actually been gone 20 years and everything had changed. And people were dead and were alive and so on and so forth. Well, that's how I kind of felt when I came from this paradise place where the angels had been working on me back there in the backwoods of, the Pacific Northwest. It gave me a good little tune up and let's get this program on the road, okay? And sent me a spotted eagle to help me along the way and all kinds of other gratuitous things in the way the generosity of our universe will provide for you if you just let it. And man, part of my whole lesson, even since then, the old Rick Van Winkle thing getting me again, is just learning to open up and letting people help you out when you need a little help out, and helping others out when they do. Of course, I'm pretty good at that. I'm pretty good at loaning it out, but not always getting it back. I tell you, it can be some people think because you're kind that you're weak, and they try to take advantage of your kindness, and I go, oh my. But we've been like just not even going through that kind of stuff here, other than a few little side things that just are there to kind of aggravate you into keeping your life going on. Now you don't want to ever let them pull you down. Now I know I'm a little rusty today because I've been going through that Rip Van Winkle thing again. When you come down out of the mountains and all of a sudden you're surrounded by a bunch of bright and beautiful hippie kids that aren't all focused and centered on anything but love and having a good time in life and so on and so forth, and they're quite decent and real to one another, and they've all got these cell phone things and they're typing out messages on these cell phone things to each other back and forth. I was just completely blown away, and the wealth that these kids just took so casually. I mean, they were raised in all these, great luxury. A lot of these kids, and just extreme wealth, and yet it's just like, well, money's breath, big deal. Don't let's go do something else here. I mean, wow. In other words, they had a gracious attitude, and I was like, wow, thanks for taking me up into the mountains for a while there, great spirit, so I could come back and see how greatly things had changed. I hadn't been gone no 20 years, but I'd been gone a few. But there I was back in the mid-90s, landing there in Boulder, Colorado, of all places, which of course everybody knows is the spiritual capital of everywhere. I mean, it's not just the U.S. of A. It's everywhere. Okay, so I'm joking just a wee bit today. I'm joking a wee bit each and every day, man. Because you've got Grandpa Koyote, and what does Grandpa Koyote do? Play the Coyote way. So when we're going to tell a story, we're going to tell it in a good way, the Coyote way, because that's the way we lived it, okay? I know, it's sad and sorry, and, oh, this makes you feel incomplete. Oh, no, it don't, and I'll tell you what. You don't ever feel in defeat. It's like there a few weeks ago, I'm laying there, I know something weird is going on. But I have gone through all these changes, and I'm kind of, I didn't realize it, but kind of half in and half out of my body, just laying there in this bed, trying to make some sense out of whatever's going on around me. Well, inside of me, watching as I open up, it's like I'm inside. I'm like experiencing a whole different level of life. I'm surrounded by all this activity. It's almost like being alive in the middle of a busy train station like New York Central, Grand Central, or whatever that was back there in the great days of the old heydays. But it was kind of like that, and there was just busyness all around me. And I can't always tell what's physical and what's ethereal because it just kind of all blends together. And next thing I know, I'm getting picked up and hauled away to a hospital because I'm about ready to check out, I guess. I didn't realize it, but that's what I was experiencing as I'm there. It just seemed all too familiar. I've been in such spaces before, but it's interesting how that comes to you. And, your consciousness goes to such a level that it's just accepted. You're just going with that flow, whatever that is, don't you know? It's another one of those Rip Van Winkle moments when you feel like you've been, and then you start to remember what it's really like. The other side, I mean. And this side, too, because they're really one and the same. They play together, they work together, and soon they're going to commune together a whole lot more, one way or the other. Now, I got to tell you, since that time, since just a few weeks ago now, when that happened to me and I was living there, it was that way for a few days. Both as they it took me into the hospital and as the illness that was trying to take me down retreated, and my inner physical strength started coming back a bit. Even then, it was like, I could still be, and there were all kinds of people around me that I knew nobody else would be seeing, and so on and so forth, You kind of just take it for natural when you're living in that state. And then little by little, as you get back into physicality, it wears off, I think it's some kind of test we have designed for ourselves, is that thing, to see what we might do with it, It's, for some it would be great relief because they just haven't had that much fun this time around. For others, it's like, wow, just a natural step. And for others, it's like, oh, be afraid. But there's really nothing to be afraid of. And this is how you kind of work yourself into, when you let nature, natural ways kind of handle it, It'll come to you this way, and you'll experience it in a way that you can remember it. Because, see, that's where we come from, and that's who we are, is what we see ourselves as on the other side. We're not necessarily the depiction we see here, though this is a great replication of our energy, only it's a partial package, not a full one. Because, we give you the full one, you might, get heady and carried away and think you rule the universe, okay? Because from your heart you really do. Each and every one of us too. From the most humble of dogs and cats to the most noble of human beings and other creatures and critters beyond us, like angels and so forth, We're all kind of in it in an equitous sort of way. And we're all kind of going through our own little Rip Van Winkle moment where we realize we've been asleep for quite some time. And now we're just starting to wake up, even though it feels like we're going back to sleep as we're waking up. Can you dig it? I thought so, man. You guys are really brilliant. I appreciate y'all. And, I got to let you know, I wouldn't be around if you guys hadn't pulled me through because, wow. But see, that's what I mean. I had to let people know that stuff had been going on for a bit, and I'd let it go way too far, just like I often do, before I do anything about it. But when I did, when I let the appeal out, everybody and their dogs started coming out of the woodwork. And I tell you what, where I was completely debilitated just a few weeks ago, I'm actually getting to where I can take some independent steps now. Where I've been wheelchair bound for quite some time. Now I can move around a little bit. The pains are dissolving away. The healing is taking place. I know you never know how much time you got on this whole planet. And if it comes, it comes, but I'm not worried about it. I'm going with the flow of it, and I pray I'll be around for a few years, because this is getting interesting. I don't want to live in pain or be a burden to anybody else, but I want to be here and see this world happen, because I think we're moving into some of the most shining time humanity has ever experienced. I guess maybe that's why there's so much ugliness and cruelty being exposed, and world leaders can't help but show themselves for who they truly are, and so forth. And if you look just a little beyond it, you start to see and detect what might be some manipulation in the background, eh? Yeah, I'd say. Gee whiz, and then some. But you know what? It's an experience we all chose, and through that, we have gone down, and then we have rose, and now we're coming back up to where we always ought to be, which is living in our heart quite naturally as a unified tribe. That's the flow of Spring Creek here on the Hazy Radio Network with Grandpaw Koyote and Okiwan Kenobi and Sweet Mary Jane and a whole bunch of others that help keep us on the trail. Okay, oh man, this thing is so old and endearing. I see ghosts and shadows of prairie dwellers and buffaloes and stuff for some reason when I'm checking this one out. Maybe you will too. I don't know. What's on the other side of this one, baby? It's good, whatever it is. Been finding our way back, man. Seems like a starship did back in their day. Old Legs is doing in his day too, man. We're all kind of trying to figure it out for you, right? So you can catch on. No, we're doing it each for one another and then one for everyone. No matter how you feel, how selfish and ungenerous you might be, or perhaps kind-hearted and loving and generous as all get out, despite the recipe that life's handed you, man. A lot of folks manage to bring that on through, and I gotta tell you, that's what has saved humanity from the brink of insanity. You watch and see. This 201A will not be a repeat of anything of late. Okay? We are having it our way today on this Free Day Friday. That original moment we call Spring Creek. That first little flow of life where we conceive of it all and bring it all into being. How much more spectacular can it be than that? Well, I don't know. Firecrackers are fun every now and then, too. Just don't get carried away and take that stuff seriously anymore, okay? Make it play. We don't need no warlike attitude. We're all the same tribe. No matter what tribe we come from or how many super secret organizations we might be a part of, it don't really matter, man. We're all the same tribe, and as such, we're all that little molecule of water in the stream of life, and that stream has taken us the way the flow wants to go. For the river is mightier than the molecule, but without the molecule, there is no river. Okay? Getting it clear here today in that hazy radio sort of way. And how? Kerpow, says Grandpa Koyote and Little Okiwan Kenobi and a whole bunch of others that love you so out here today, okay?
Here's one of your old rock and roll favorites, friend. Shuffle on down to Broadway.
To realize that you're always in the flow, that you're always in service to the greater heart of all, don't you know? Even if you're doing like I do these weaker, dumber things that I really don't think are necessary in this reality, yet here they come. And what do? But just deal with it. Go with the flow. And keep digging, and don't ever let it stop you. Because there's causative factors all over the place, and maybe you won't get them all in one lifetime, so what? This one's designed so that we can, man. And that's what those troubled waters are doing for me, is helping me along, helping me refine this thing to get down to the grittier parts of where the real difficulties begin here, so we smooth them out and never believe, never live in that way again. Conflict is an unreality. Unification is truth. We operate in a unified flow we call the stream of life. Or Spring Creek, which is the beginning here on the Hazy Radio Network. Your buddy Grandpaw Koyote, Little Okie Wan Kenobi, and all the rest of this happy bunch of angelic gangsters that come around to help bring your heart up just when you thought it was going down. Then it starts coming around, you see. So pay attention to what's happening in your 3D, baby. Feel the wiggle in your waggle, you know. Get that gaggle in your gooses, man. You know, get the thing down. Start to appreciate what you got. There'll be a lot more coming around. I mean, some really, really good stuff. Because this 2018 is a year that was not too late, but right on time. Because this is the moment when we arrive divine. Find that unified spot where we've honest to goodness realize it in each and every heart. And all these acts of competition and fighting and fear and all this just dissolve away. They're an unreality. It's like waking up. It ain't a dream. You can have nightmares. A little harder to do when you're living in the reality, but you can do it there too. But when you awaken from the dream, the nightmare is over with. When you awaken to the truth of the unified field of the heart, the universal creative heart in every human being that lives, and you realize it's the same person in all of us, each one of us and everyone, unified. That's why it makes no sense whatsoever to even have an immigration policy, let alone to talk about such things and put people down because they come from the wrong side of town. This is not the way that human beings live. If others are down, we help them coming around. We're down, well, you know, put your hand out. Let somebody help you along too, okay? Because somebody is going to be there today. It's not the way it used to be when people just walk by you all bruised and battered there on the side of the road, you know, been robbed and everything, and nobody wants to help you out. Those days are over with. And the people who would act in that way are becoming fewer and fewer until there is none. There's no room for that here. There's no room for arrogance or conflict. Human beings are human beings specifically. You see, we're not Chinese, we're not Japanese, we're not even Americans, you know, though we sure have been canned a good one here, haven't we? But we are human. Human, as I call us, the colorful beings of creation, the children of the light that chose to become the children of the universal light, the universal love. Those that the mother created to express her creation through. You see? That's me, that's you, my little doggy too, your little kitty cat, it's all of us, man. In it together in a unified field of the heart. And there ain't no denying it. And you're seeing signs of it everywhere. Even in the controlled, propagandistic media. Huge shifts in attitudes are occurring. Pay attention. You'll be reassured instead of flabbergasted, okay? It's about time we all started feeling this way. So the earth is going through a general calming at this moment in time as far as humanity's concerned. And then, well, we'll just wait and see, baby. Right now, it's all that matters to you and me. If we get that going on, the rest of it happens just like the heart singing its song. And we'll get it on that way, okay, baby? We love you so. Out here in this old buffalo country we call New Mexico, man. You know, we had to come down here to help ourselves get some health restrictions out of our life, okay? And now we got it going on here. Hey, Okie, come here, buddy. Come here, buddy. Come here. Get up here with your daddy. Come on. Say hi to the folks today, will ya? Yeah. He's feeling a little bit lonely down there, and I don't blame him. I would be too, man. You come up here and sit with your daddy. He can even get on my lap now. A day or two ago, that was impossible. Darlings, I want you to know I just can't thank you enough for all that you shared with me here. You know, especially these last few weeks when it's been so rough. And the amazing miracles that are happening because of it, you know. And all I need right now is a few dollars to help facilitate everything, keep me moving. You know, I pretty much give this show from the freedom of my heart and let my social insecurity cover things, which it does most of the time, but not all of the time because, well, I had to make some changes in my life. I moved twice while I'm going through all this hard stuff in the last 2 months. So anyway, it stretched me a little bit thin, and so I want to thank y'all for those that have pitched in and donated a little too. I don't expect too much out of you. I never ask hardly ever, but today I am because, well, we just need to get by in this world too. And, you know, Okie got to eat, you know. And my baby sister who's been here helping me out too. It's been a little wild and woolly here, but of course, what would you expect hanging out with a coyote, man? It's going to be a little fuzzy around the edges no matter what. Just the way it is, just the way it'll always be. Well, it does smooth out, but it's always a little bit wild. You know what I mean? You got to have something to laugh about, something to smile about, something to be really strong within. Let yourself know how good you've been, because that's where you begin, okay? And Santa Claus don't have to spy on you anymore, neither does anybody else. How ridiculous that we ever should have to resort to such tactics. How ridiculous that we were ever torn so far apart as to make war on one another's villages and so forth. I mean, how insane could the whole thing be? And how out of hand will we let it get before we finally gave ourselves some relief naturally? Okay, so what I want you to think about today is you go through your free day Friday and help get it all underway. Okay, and thanks for being here today, man. Oh, and thanks for helping me through it. It's just wild what we do when we're in it together. You see, and I'm living proof of it. So are you now. Okay, anybody out there need a little bit of this extra strong healing energy? Here it comes your way. Just open your heart and you'll get it right now, okay? All right, baby. We thank you so. Thanks for being here in a rock and roll medicine show we call the Loving Living Life Spring Creek, don't you know? Only and exclusively on the Everclear AZ Radio Network here again. We thank you.